On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
Whoa. Is that the new gray hooded sweatshirt from Obituary's 2023 fall collection?
Oh my gosh, I thought you'd never ask. It sure is. And can I just say, it is so comfy and it fits true to size and just perfect.
Wow, I would love to get one of those. Any idea where I could get one?
Oh, you can go to wonderyshop.com/obituary, but also, I was going to ask, is that the cult leader black crew neck?
Oh, it is. And I've got lettering on both sides of my sleeves. Creative designs. Oh, it's the most comfortable thing I could picture wearing. And if you happen to be a cult babe, you can head over to wonderyshop.com/cultleader and grab one.
Grab one, grab two. There's different colors of everything. It's really a good time over there.
Oh, we have got an incredible selection, and you don't want to miss it.
I saw a couple people already got their mugs.
I know.
Okay, love that.
Love to see your guys' mugs with the mugs.
Thank you, Postal Service.
Yes, we'd like to thank the men and women and all serving the service of delivering those packages.
Yes, thank you.
How's that? How do you like that for an information? No, really, you sat down and you're wearing the Obituary sweatshirt. And then I'm truly wearing cult leader merch, fully ran errands in it today. Like, oh, well, wearing my own merch, don't care.
Okay, I have to say with the Obituary shirts, I wear them now to my workouts because they're like light. And they're so comfy. So I wear them all the time. And Cisco makes fun of me. He's like, okay, merch girl. I'm like, well, I really like these shirts.
Sorry. We love it. And we love Obituary. And we love Cult Leader. And we love all of you.
Truly. And thank you so much for all the love.
Yes. Seriously. God, it's been quite a week over here. Well, in some personal death news.
Yes.
I did lose my grandpa Dave this week.
I'm sorry.
And I have to say, doing this show has helped me process death.
Really?
In ways that I don't think I realized. He unfortunately had pancreatic cancer and was put on hospice recently. And I think just knowing kind of the ins and outs of the entire process, I mean, we only know what we know.
Right.
Obviously, we're not
It's more than when we started, though.
It sure is. And it took away the kind of like what's happening portion of dealing with loss. And when I would get updates on him, which is why I've been going home so much recently, when I would get updates on him, it was all stuff that they would be like, oh, well, the nurse said blah, blah, blah. And I'm, oh, yeah, that's, I kind of felt like I knew what I was talking about.
Right.
But, I mean, he was the best. He came to our live show in Irvine last year. We had dinner with him not long ago when we went up for the San Francisco show. And he was just always very supportive of the shows. Just, he was great. He was a great guy. And I was talking to his wife, and I was talking with her yesterday, and she's like, I just want you to know your grandfather requested that you write his obituary.
When you told me that yesterday, and I got like teary-eyed. I'm like, oh, that's such an honor.
I know. That's what I told her. I was like, I would be honored, but I'm also like, okay, the fucking pressure is on.
The pressure's on.
I'm like, I have to kill this obituary. So who knows? Maybe I'll read it on the show.
Yes.
I got to get to work on that this weekend.
You absolutely do. Have you thought about what direction you want to go? You're like, I'm going scathing.
No, I mean, my grandfather was really funny.
Yeah.
But he was also kind of serious, and he was such like a businessman. Like, I feel like I want to keep it simple, classy, maybe throw a joke or two in there.
Okay.
But really, I think the most important thing, which I remember from working on my mom's obituary, is just like making sure to include certain people, which we've learned. I mean, there's so many do's and don'ts when it comes to writing an obituary.
You can't miss anything.
Oh, no. So we got to cross our T's, dot our I's, and then we're going to cross our I's and dot our T's.
Boom.
Baby, that's how we do it. We had a fun week together. This past weekend, my dad and my brother, I had some family in town, and we went with them to Supercross, baby.
Supercross at the LA Coliseum, and we ran into a couple Geoffs and Cold Babes.
Yes, so hello to you guys.
Hello to you guys.
That was so much fun. Madison, you had your hair in like this little ponytail, and you were like, oh, well, I'm not going to see anyone.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we walked up to the gates, they're like, can you Spencer Madison?
Well, because I was like, we're going to Supercross. Like, I don't need to do my hair. I like slicked it back in like a braid and was like, cool, you know, and in a sweatshirt. And then we see people and I'm like, hi, I'm a rat.
No, you look good. Some of them were twins too.
Some of them are twins. And also, I have that same hairstyle today. And you talked to me through your Ring camera and you said, oh, there's that fucking braid again.
Because at the Supercross, there was this man sitting a few rows in front of us, and he had like shaved sides of this tight little like ponytail braid thing. And Madison was like, that's me. And so when she pulled up today, I saw her come in on my cameras, and I'm like, there's that fucking braid again.
There's that fucking braid again. And we took the big honkin' Sprinter van.
We did.
And we paid $100 to some random man in the street to give up his parking spot.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's how it works.
We pulled on in there and everything was great.
It was so much fun. You know what else is going to be really fun?
Florida.
Our October 26th bitchin' Halloween, and we better see you guys there.
I'm so excited about it already, just what we're going to be talking about. I know you too, like we have our bookmarks on our computers of all the cool stuff.
An exclusive. So
baby.
be there or be square.
Which is also, by the way, hard to have exclusive stuff, but we have so much stuff even from our old live show that's like, I want to do a full coffin spinner on some of it and like really dive deep.
Yes, same. There's been a few things at the live shows that I'm like,
God, these are fucking cool.
Yeah, because I really liked our tour this year. I felt like we had so many stories in there that were really just the tip of the iceberg because they only gave us 90 minutes on the stage.
Oh, we could have been there for hours.
Oh, please. But they were shutting the lights out on us at some of those.
Yeah.
Remember where were we?
We were in Austin. And I'll never forget it.
Oh.
Because I have a gripe. No, we loved Austin and all the people there. But during our meet and greet, they started turning the lights out.
Yes. We were like fully having a conversation with someone, and then they turned the lights out. And we were always really cognizant, like, okay, don't go over our time. Make sure that like we're being respectful to the staff at all these venues. So we were always so fucking prompt and on time.
We left them. Thank you, car. Like everything.
Yes.
I guess in some of their defense, I don't even want to say that because everybody was wonderful. There was just one venue that started turning the lights out. But it's not a regular meet and greet because we talk about death. And it's such a complicated subject that we hear some stories that are going to take longer than, hi, how are you? Thanks for coming. You know what I mean?
We're also just not those people. And I think that was something you and I both struggled with a little bit because some of the venues would have like security there and they'd be like, okay, so they each have, 10 seconds or 8 seconds and they come, take a picture, go. Take a picture,
like,
go.
What the No.
Like, no, they paid to be here. We're going to talk. I feel like we're in our rhythm again. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that all the episodes are out with like the updates and everything. Like,
I know.
After our hiatus, because I'm like, it just feels good and normal to be back with a good, normal episode.
Just feels freeing now, you know.
We call this episode, Oh Bitch. The normal episode.
The normal episode. Well, actually, it's not a normal episode because I don't have a listener email this week.
What?
Because I found 2 articles that I really wanted to talk about. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put them in place this week.
Okay. Well, now I'm thrown for a loop.
Oh, God. Okay. All right, so it's not normal. I'm sorry. I stumbled upon these two articles, but do you want me to start with the sweet and light article or the one that's fucking wild, but I kind of respect it?
Let's start with the sweet.
Okay. I found this on a few different websites. There was Connecting Directors and thedad.com. I don't know why. And it was from May of 2019, but it was in their like funerary industry news. And I thought it was so cool. Lego has funeral service sets.
What?
So cemetery introduces funeral Lego sets for the little goth in us all. And so they have, I'll read a couple of the little blurbs, but it says straight from the gift shop of Bestatung's Museum in the Vienna Funeral Museum in Vienna's Central Cemetery, which I believe is in Austria. These custom Lego sets are being promoted with the intention of teaching kids and the various procedures at a cemetery in an attempt to reduce their anxiety regarding these natural processes. And they have a Lego bereaved family minifigure with the deceased. Are you looking at that article, Spence?
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures.
And then they have a Lego cemetery with casket, gravestone, and excavator for digging your own graves. And then they have a Lego horse-drawn corpse carriage with coffin. And then they have a World War I era Vienna funeral tram with 2 Legos and a Lego undertaker. And then I think my favorite is the Lego hearse.
Incredible.
I think that is so cool. Just speaking of, like what you were saying, losing your grandpa, like you are able to process it a little bit more than you would have before this show. And I think it's so important for people to learn about death.
Yeah.
And kids.
Definitely.
God. Okay, so we've got that sweet one, but then we have this one from June of 2023 from firstpost.com, and it says, creative or disturbing? PETA founder wills her body parts be sent to politicians, business leaders, and flesh to be eaten. Her last name's Newkirk, but she has a desire for her skin to be cured and used to make a leather belt and purse as a statement against the fashion industry, and the wish for a portion of her flesh to be fried with onions for a human barbecue. This is all in her will, by the way. She also wants her lips removed and sent to the President of the United States to object to his support for the turkey industry during Thanksgiving. She wants her liver sent to the President of France as a protest against the force feeding of ducks and geese for foie gras. And then she wants a piece of her heart to be sent to Elon Musk because he has a lack of empathy and compassion because he has animal experiments going on for Neuralink technology. And then she wants one of her legs to be forcefully broken and exhibited during the Grand National. And then one of her ears to be sent to Spain's King Felipe to protest bull mutilation by matadors. And then her ass needs to be sent to the Prime Minister of Australia to draw attention to the flaying of lamb's hindquarters during shearing.
Well, I hope she left money for shipping because that is a lot of international packages.
It is a lot.
I don't know if you're allowed to send body parts.
She'll be dead, though. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? And, you know, I know PETA can be very extreme, but I absolutely agree with them.
Yeah. We don't like animal testing and we don't like animal abuse.
Nope, we do not.
But we're also owners of leather and you eat meat.
Total hypocrisy. I get it. But I admire this woman for she's fucking about it, you know?
All I gotta say is we like somebody who plans ahead.
Okay.
And she has planned her final arrangements.
I mean, you can do what you want in your will.
Australia's getting her ass. I guess that means they're getting her asshole
too. Asshole too.
Let's talk about some assholes or non-assholes. I don't know. But this first one says, am I the asshole for going on a group trip that had been planned for months shortly after the sudden tragic death of someone in the group? I got invited to go on a group trip with a group of 8 guys to Hawaii, and we've been planning it since February. We have been meticulously going over every detail down to meals, excursions, transportation, accommodations, most of which has already been paid for. Tragically, a member of the group had a medical emergency last weekend and passed away suddenly. He was a friend of someone else in the group, and I had never met him before. We are set to leave this coming Monday. 5 of the 8 people in the group have said they don't feel comfortable going on the trip. Myself and 2 of my close friends still want to go on the trip, and we are facing a lot of pressure from the others not to continue this trip. They feel that it is insensitive to go on. I rarely take time off, and I really need this vacation. It's all I've been thinking about for months. I have thousands of dollars invested in this trip, and I'm not sure how much of it is refundable at this point. Am I in the wrong here?
I don't think it's bad to go on a trip after. I think you can do it in a way to honor and celebrate the person.
He also didn't even know this person. It was like a friend of a friend.
Oh, still go.
I mean, the person was going on the trip.
Yeah. You're not doing anything bad. You're going on a trip that was planned. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not missing the funeral. You're not doing anything to hurt family members.
I would get if some of the people in the group were like, because I was really thinking about this one. He was voted not the asshole, whoever wrote this. But I was thinking about it and I'm like, I don't know. Like it feels like conflicting a little bit.
Of course it's conflicting. Somebody died. That's terrible.
It is. And like, I wonder if the other 5 people were like, can we just postpone this for, 3 months or something?
Yeah.
Then I would be like, if they're doing that, but if they're just saying we're canceling the trip and you still want to go, I mean, go, I guess.
I would go.
Yeah. Not the asshole.
I don't think so.
Okay, but this one says, am I the asshole for telling my mom to move the fuck on after my dad died?
Oh, okay.
My dad, 73, died a month ago. I, 35, live a 20-hour plane ride away, was LC with my parents for several years before his death, and got back in touch after his cancer diagnosis. I'm guessing LC is low contact.
Yeah, or like lost
contact.
Yeah.
I spent 3 weeks with my mom, 65, after his death and handled his post-mortem affairs. I was practically raised in a cult and went low contact for my mental health, as my parents still live in that cult-like environment and constantly try to drag me back into it. My dad always respected my boundaries and kept his distance, but my mom was always sheltered and doesn't understand boundaries or independence as she wasn't allowed any. She has gotten much worse since dad died. I'm resentful towards my mom, besides ruining my childhood, for hiding my dad's cancer diagnosis from him. As a result, I spent most of my 3 weeks off handling my dad's affairs. His will and insurance info were not updated and we were both locked out of his inheritance, as my dad still had my old citizenship on file and they could not confirm my identity. When I brought up how stressful that avoidable situation was, my mom said, "How was I supposed to know this would happen? Your dad died so suddenly. I don't understand why you need a break from work so soon after 3 weeks from your family. This will always be your home and you can never deny where you're born." Her family and friends have been supportive, but she's been very entitled and kept complaining about them to me. She moved out of the house she shared with my dad because that house is haunted now. She didn't even need to house hunt for a new place on her own. Her family did it for her. Meanwhile, no less than 3 families offered to host her while she sorted out her living situation. We even hired her a live-in helper whom she constantly tried to fire. Everything my dad did and we do for her now is not good enough. She was again complaining to me today that she was invited on a 10-day trip in the countries, but she felt that the way her family asked her to go with them hurt her feelings somehow. I said, look, if you don't want to go with them, then don't go. My mom then went on a tirade about how alone she was and how everybody abandoned her. I was out of patience from listening to her complaints and said, look, dad's dead, you have to make your own plans now. Either learn to fucking move on your own or learn to deal with the fact that other people are only taking care of you out of kindness, not an obligation. My mom immediately started crying and said that I was the only person obligated to take care of her and I shut her out of my life. I hung up on her. Minutes later, I get text messages calling me an asshole and how dare I talk to my mother like that. So am I the asshole?
Given all of the background that you wrote about, I don't think you're the asshole. And I think sometimes people need a little kick in the ass.
Okay.
Or like a little reality check. Especially if you said you grew up in a cult. I'd probably try to get away from my parents.
So people did vote this person the asshole. One user wrote, "You're the asshole for the move on comment, as everyone grieves differently and only a month had passed since she lost her lifelong companion."
Oh, that's true.
Now, if you want to go low contact again after this, you wouldn't be an asshole. You need it for your own mental health. However, low contact means not engaging when they start with the angry, abusive, cult-like comment, since answering only adds fuel to the fire. And a lot of people were basically like, you're not an asshole for not wanting to have a relationship with her or if you go no contact with her.
Mm-hmm.
But you are an asshole for telling her to
Such a harsh comment.
move on. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think I do too. It's like you should never I think that's the worst thing you can do. And like the lowest thing you can do is tell someone
get over it.
Get over it. Or you need to move on, especially after a month.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Oh God. Bunch of assholes.
Kind of.
Kind of.
1.5 or 2 halves make a whole.
Yeah.
Two halves make an asshole.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, I am up first this week. You got a little side bitch for us?
I sure do. And this is from the Daily Advertiser from Australia in 1948.
Oh, Australia.
From Australia. And it says, spinster feared being buried alive. A spinster. Okay?
Me.
Sydney, Tuesday, Julia Lewis Edwards, 88, spinster, who died last February, directed in her will that an artery in either of her arms be opened before burial to ensure that she was not buried alive.
Oh, shit.
Probate in Miss Edwards' will was granted in the Supreme Court today. She left an estate valued at £2,288. I'm not sure if it's dollars or pounds. Portions of the will stated, before burial, I desire that a duly qualified medical practitioner shall ensure that I shall not be buried alive, open the artery in either of my arms.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know, smart.
Yeah, she's like, I've heard about what's going on here.
Okay.
What year was this?
1948, which
Whoa.
wasn't the 1800s, but
maybe she
lived through probably some
crazy shit. Who knows?
live burials.
Maybe her parents were buried alive. Or
You never know.
You never know.
Trauma.
I'm gonna ask for that too.
I like that.
Even though I'm getting cremated, I'm gonna say, cut my arm open before you put me in the cremator. How about that?
How about that? That would be hot.
Oh my God. Hot.
God. Well, should we take a little break and then hear what had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Oh, let's do it. We'll be right back.
And we're back. Spencer, what had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Okay, well, I was laughing in my coffin this week. Okay, so I had a different coffin spinner initially. I wanted to talk about the alien corpses.
Oh my God. I didn't even read into those because I was like, there's no way.
I have a video I want to show you.
Okay.
And we'll post it. Well, okay, I feel like I have to give a little bit of the backstory here. So this man who's a self-proclaimed UFOologist, whatever. He like had these 2 corpses that are supposedly, thousands of years old, and they're these alien corpses, and they gave them MRIs. Or like CT scans. But watch this video. Hold it above the mic so they can hear. But watch them putting the little bodies.
They're probably like, this is so stupid. Hold on.
Well, these so-called alien corpses have now undergone lab testing. Yep, that's right. They've had a full CT scan and X-rays. The bodies were presented to Congress in Mexico last week by a self-proclaimed UFO expert named Jaime Maussan. He claimed they had been discovered in Peru in 2017.
Is it showing them go through the thing?
Years old. His presentation went viral, with many calling the bodies aliens. The so-called corpses have been tested by Jose de Jesus Salce Benitez, reportedly a military doctor and forensic expert, who says the specimens each belong to a single skeleton and have not been manipulated. But the findings have been widely disputed by scientists. Last week, a NASA scientist responded to the news and urged the men to
make samples available to the world scientific community, and we'll see what's there.
Seeing these little like dolls go through like a fucking CT
Tube, I know.
killed me. I was laughing. Anyway, okay.
So what did they find?
Well, they did say that like they're single skeleton units, so like they weren't like reassembled or anything.
How weird.
So who fucking knows?
Who knows? I know there's aliens.
Oh, come on. But okay, Madison, we are going to move into my actual coffin spinner. So we've talked about body weight in several episodes now, from like the average weight of cremains to the final weigh-ins of a mummy. Remember how much they weighed?
I think like 40 to 50 pounds.
Well, have you ever, even for a second, thought how much does a soul weigh?
Now, what's a soul?
It's the thing we sold to get this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, well, today I'm going to give you an estimated answer as we talk about the 21 grams experiment.
I think I lost that this month.
You did.
Training hard.
Okay, so this is actually really interesting. Obviously, there's no way to say for certain how much a soul weighs. Scientifically, we can't even prove that souls exist.
Right.
However, back in 1901, there was this physician, and his name was Duncan McDougall, and he started conducting a study to see if he could, in fact, measure the weight of a human soul to try and prove or disprove their existence.
Okay.
He was like the first person to ever do this. It is wild to think about, like, talk about human souls forever, dating way back to like biblical times. There really hasn't been a whole lot of research into it because it's such a faith-based
But also,
concept.
what's a ghost? I feel like a ghost is probably a soul.
Well, if it's energy, technically energy has a weight, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about his findings and his experiments and everything. From livescience.com, quote, "The story starts at the turn of the last century in Dorchester, a neighborhood in Boston. A reputable physician named Duncan McDougall had a bee in his bonnet," which is a cute way of saying, like, had, a thought. If humans had souls, he thought, those souls must take up space. And if souls take up space, well, they must weigh something, right? Mm-hmm. In April of 1907, he published his findings in a work titled Hypothesis Concerning Soul Substance Together with Experimental Evidence of the Existence of Such Substance. Really catchy.
What a title.
And in it, he writes, quote, "If personal continuity after the event of a bodily death is a fact, if the psychic functions continue to exist in a separate individually or personality after the death of brain and body, then such personality can only exit as a space-occupying body unless the relationships between space objective and space notions in our consciousness, established in our consciousness by heredity and experience, are entirely wiped out at death, and a new set of relations between space and consciousness suddenly established in the continuing personality. This would be an unimaginable breach in the continuity of nature." Basically, he's just saying, like, if we got a soul and it can live on after we die, it should be a measurable thing. He goes on to say it's unthinkable that personality and consciousness, continuing personal identity, should exist and have being and yet not occupy space. So basically, like, if there's a soul in our body, it's got to be taking up space somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The too long don't read is fucking, you got a soul in your body.
Right.
We want to weigh it. According to Live Science, McDougall teamed up with Dorchester's Consumptives Home, which is a charitable hospital for late-stage tuberculosis, which at the time was incurable. He built a large scale there capable of holding a cot and a dying tuberculosis patient, which made me think, because remember I told you in the hospital they weighed me.
Right.
And they did it while I was on the hospital bed.
Oh, yeah, because you couldn't even walk.
Well, no, that's just how they do it at the hospital. And they like take away like how many blankets are on the bed and how many pillows are on the bed to like try and figure out your weight. Because remember, I was pissed off because I've been like bulking with this trainer to try and gain weight. And I was like, God damn it, I just lost it all in this hospital. But tuberculosis was a convenient disease for this experiment, McDougall explained in his paper, because patients died in great exhaustion and without any movement that would jiggle his scale. So basically, he went into this hospital, set up this scale, and his first patient was a man who died on April 10th of 1901 with a sudden drop in the scale of 0.75 ounces, aka 21.2 grams. And in that moment, this legend was born that the soul weighs 21 grams, which is how this became known as the 21 grams experiment.
Okay.
It didn't matter much that McDougall's next patient lost half an ounce, 14 grams, 15 minutes after he stopped breathing, or that his third case showed an inexplicable two-step loss of half an ounce and then 1 ounce, 28 grams a minute later. McDougall threw out case number 4, a woman dying of diabetes, because the scale wasn't well calibrated, in part due to a good deal of interference by people opposed to our work, which raises questions that McDougall did not seem eager to answer in his write-up. Case number 5 lost 10 grams, but the scale malfunctioned afterwards, raising questions about those numbers. Case number 6 got thrown out because the patient died while McDougall was still adjusting his scale. He went more into detail in his own writings, and I'm not going to read everything he wrote about all of the patients because it's really wordy and complicated, but I wanted to read about the first patient because that's really what prompted this whole theory of like the 21 grams, and just to get a better picture of what his thought process was. He said, "My first subject was a man dying of tuberculosis, and it seemed to me best to select a patient dying with a disease that produces great exhaustion, the death occurring with little or no muscular movement, because in such a case, the beam could be kept more perfectly at balance and any loss occurring could be readily noted," which is interesting to think about because he set this scale up so specifically with the bed, and he knew that like, okay, the tuberculosis patient isn't going to move, but if it was someone dying of something else or something more traumatic, they'd probably be like
moving around.
Yeah. Like an off kilter. The patient was under observation for 3 hours and 40 minutes before death, lying on a bed arranged on a light framework built upon a very delicately balanced platform beam scale. The patient's comfort was looked after in every way, although he was practically moribund when placed upon the bed. He lost weight slowly at the rate of 1 ounce per hour due to evaporation of moisture in respiration and evaporation of sweat. During all 3 hours and 40 minutes, I kept the beam slightly above balance near the upper limiting bar in order to make the test more decisive if it should come. At the end of the 3 hours and 40 minutes, he expired, and suddenly coincident with death, the beam end dropped with an audible stroke, hitting against the lower limiting bar and remaining there with no rebound. The loss was ascertained to be 3/4 of an ounce. The loss of weight could not be due to evaporation of respiratory moisture and sweat because that had already been determined to go on, in his case, at the rate of 1/60th of an ounce per minute. So they had already been like measuring how much moisture was leaving the body so they could figure out exactly when he died, what that difference was. My thought when I was initially reading about this experiment, a lot of your fluids get released from your body when you die.
I was thinking that too.
But he says the bowels did not move at this point. If they had moved, the weight would still have remained upon the bed, except for a slow loss by the evaporation of moisture, depending, of course, upon the fluidity of the feces.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because it's already in him.
Right.
So if it comes out of him, it's
Just
still
be on
on
the
that
bed.
bed.
Yeah.
The bladder evacuated 1 or 2 drams of urine, and this remained upon the bed and could have only influenced the weight by slow, gradual evaporation, and therefore in no way could account for the sudden loss. There remained but one more channel of loss to explore: the expiration of all but the residual air in the lungs. Getting upon the bed myself, my colleague put the beam at actual balance. Inspiration and expiration of air as forcibly as possible by me had no effect on the beam. So even breath.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't think he got on
Is he, like,
not
pushing
with
on
the
it?
guy.
Oh.
McDougall himself got on the bed on top of the beams prior to a patient being there.
Okay.
To
Like, Jesus.
test it out by inhaling air and
To see
exhaling.
if that. I see.
To see if it would make a difference. Or no, he got his colleague to get on the bed. He says, in this case, we certainly have an inexplicable loss of weight of 3/4 of an ounce. Is it the sole substance? How other shall we explain it? In 1907, he published all his findings and his whole hypothesis, and it made a lot of headlines. So I have an edition of the 1907 New York Times article where they wrote about this. It kind of simplifies it a little bit, so it's not so confusing. But it says, soul has weight, physician thinks. Dr. McDougall of Haverhill tells of experiments at death. Loss to body recorded. Boston, March 10th. That the human soul has a definite weight, which could be determined when it passes from the body, is the belief of Dr. Duncan McDougall, a reputable physician of Haverhill. He is at the head of a research society which for 6 years has been experimenting this field. With him, he says, have been 4 associated other physicians. Dr. McDougall's object was to learn if the departure of the soul from the body was attended by any manifestation that could be recorded by any physical means. The chief means means to which resort was made was the determination of the weight of a body before and after death. The method followed was to place a dying patient in bed upon one of the platforms of a pair of scales made expressly for the experiments, and then to balance this weight by placing an equal weight on the opposite side of the platform. These scales were constructed delicately enough to be sensitive to a weight of less than 1/10 of an ounce. In every case after death, the platform opposite the one in which lay the subject of the test fell suddenly, Dr. McDougall says. Dr. McDougall told of the results of his experiments as follows. 4 other physicians under my direction made the first test upon a patient dying with tuberculosis. This man was one of the ordinary type of the usual American temperament, neither particularly high-strung, nor of marked phlegmatic disposition. We placed him a few hours preceding death upon a scale platform which I had constructed and which was accurately balanced, and 4 hours later, with 5 doctors in attendance, he died. The instant life ceased, the opposite scale pan fell with a suddenness that was astonishing, as if something had suddenly lifted from the body, which gives me like chills to think about whether or not this is accurate. And then he talks about some of his other subjects in the article, and it says 3 other cases were tried, including that of a woman, and in each it was established that a weight from 1/2 to a full ounce departed from the body at the moment of expiration. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
In 1911, a few years later, the New York Times also reported that Duncan McDougall was hoping to run experiments to take photos of souls.
Ooh.
But he appears to have not continued any further research in that area, and he passed away in 1920.
Well, who's going to do this?
I mean,
We need someone to do it again.
I have an idea.
Okay.
At the obituary funeral home,
Uh-huh.
we're putting scales in all the caskets.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay?
No, they're...
Oh, they're already gone at that point.
Yeah. Any of our nurse Geoff friends.
Yeah, if you have any ideas...
let us know.
Yeah. So he was kind of like the main guy to ever really attempt this. And I was curious to see if like in more recent years, anybody has actually tried to measure this. Well, it turns out in December of 2001, which feels recent to me, but it's like,
I know. I'm like, that wasn't that long ago.
it's like 20 something years ago. A physicist named Louis E. Hollander Jr. published an article in the Journal of Scientific Exploration where he exhibited the results of a similar experiment. I found this just on like the Wikipedia article from the 21 grams experiment, but he says that he tested the weight of 1 ram, 7 ewes, 3 lambs, and 1 goat at the moment of death, seeking to explore upon McDougall's purported findings. So he kind of based an experiment off of this, but decided to do it with dying animals instead. But his experiment showed that 7 of the adult sheep varied their weight upon dying, though not losing it, but rather gaining an amount of 18 to 780 grams, which was lost again over time until returning to their initial weight.
Weird.
In 2009, Hollander Jr.'s experiment was subjected to critical review by Masayoshi Ishida in the same journal. Ishida found Hollander's statement of a transient gain of weight was not an appropriate expression of the experimental result, though he admitted the cause of the force event remains to be explained. He also warned about possible malfunctions of the weighing platform in 2 of the cases. Similarly inspired by McDougall's research, a physician named Gerald Nahum proposed in 2005 a follow-up experiment based on utilizing an array of electromagnetic detectors to pick up any type of escaping energy at the moment of death. He offered to sell his idea to engineering, physics, and philosophy departments at Yale, Stanford, and Duke University, as well as the Catholic Church, but was rejected by all.
How lame.
I'm like, I want to know more about this because we do have energy. I don't know. I want to know more. But I guess some religious leaders have tried to use McDougall's study as like scientific proof that souls exist to be like, told ya.
Told ya.
But we still don't have any like actual
concrete
verifiable proof. I think it's just going to be a thing where it's like, if there is souls, we're not supposed to know that much about them.
No, I don't think we're supposed to know that much, but how do you not believe in a soul?
Well, I also think there's a reason. I mean, I know we always know I always fluctuate about my feelings, and I mean, you do too. Like, we're always constantly questioning everything.
Last week I was an atheist.
So.
So.
But like, when you really think about it, I think, you know, if there is life after death or there is something after this, I don't think we're supposed to know about it, because I think if we did know, say it's really good, people would rush to get
me
there.
the fuck out of here, baby.
But also, if we know there's nothing and we had that evidence, I think as beings, life would be very depressing.
Yeah.
But who
absolutely.
knows? I mean, because there's people who don't believe there's anything and probably perfectly happy. So I don't know.
Well, if you don't believe in anything after, it could also, make you live differently.
We'll never know, but it's interesting to think about how differently would we live our lives if we knew what was coming.
We'd all live it a lot differently.
A lot differently.
Yeah.
And if I found out there's a hell, I'd get me a wife tomorrow.
Okay.
If what they say is true.
And I'd be a better wife, okay? I would be cooking.
Oh.
He'd be my rib or whatever.
You're king. Barf. Oh, fuck. So, I don't know. I was just reading about that experiment, and I know it's kind of wordy, and it's kind of like...
No, it's
talk.
really cool, though, because it, like, marries science and faith, and I always like that kind of stuff, so...
That's what we say on the show. In our next merch drop, it's going to say science and faith bedazzled.
God.
No, but...
Put that in cult leader. Jesus.
I tried to like re-word or break down some of the articles, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense if I do that. I have to read verbatim what they're saying, but it's also fucking written in 1901 or...
So it's wild,
It's wild, but yeah, I thought the whole concept of being able to weigh a soul, though, was really interesting, and I started looking elsewhere, too, just to see. I'm like, come on, this can't be the only real instance, but it really kind of is. Like, everything ties back to the 21 grams experiment. Well, we've been talking about this a lot because I called you the other day, and we've heard some incredible hospice stories on the show.
Yeah.
And my grandpa, he was on hospice leading up to his passing. He mentioned my grandma, one, who passed several years ago. Like, oh, she's, coming to get me. And then I guess in the days that were leading up to his passing, he kept saying, I want to go home. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home.
And you say, like, get the airplane ready.
Yeah, he's like, I want to go home. Well, on the day he passed, or the night he passed, he said, I guess, I'm going home.
You can't tell me there's not a fucking soul or something after this life.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he also smiled, which was nice to know. Like, he gave a big smile right before.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I hope it's a thing going home. I would like to research more about the concept of soul circles and like how they say, you go after you pass from this life, you like go and kind of like recharge and reconnect with the other souls that you knew in this lifetime. I would like to read more about that. I find that stuff so interesting and comforting. Yeah. I would love to know, like, even with us, I'm like, oh God, if I have to live life again, you have to be in it.
Of course.
Like,
I know. It's sad.
I'm also like, what were we to each other in different lives?
I know. Who knows?
Just soulmates.
Yeah, in some form.
Oh God. Well, that was what had me spinning my coffin this week. I was spinning all of my ounces were in there.
21 of them.
21 ounces of them. But we're going to take a quick break. Let you think on that for a moment. And when we come back, we'll hear what had you spinning in your coffin.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back. And we're back. What had you spinning in your coffin this week, girly?
Well, we can't have a spinning coffin without the help of some pallbearers, can we?
Oh, we just need them. We need them.
We need them, so I'm going to talk about them this week. And a little warning, I probably am going to say pallbearer 500,000 times, so just be forewarned.
Oh, I know Paul.
Do you know Bearer?
Oh, I know pallbearer.
Okay, that'd be a good drag name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like Paula Bearer.
Paula Bearer.
Trademarked.
Oh, now we got to go do drag.
Trademarked.
Trademarked. Oh my gosh. Well, I covered a specific type of pallbearer in an episode a long time ago where I talked about the dancing pallbearers.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget.
It was definitely a wild ass ride, but I realized that I never went into detail about what a pallbearer even is or the origins of it, and it's a really special job, so thought I'd dive into it.
I love it. Let's hear it.
So a pallbearer are those people that you see at a funeral carrying a coffin or casket from the hearse through the funeral and to the final resting place. Other than the obvious necessity of transporting the coffin. Why do we have pallbearers? Where did they start? Who can be a pallbearer? Who cannot be a pallbearer? How many are needed per coffin? I mean, all of these questions I just was asking myself. And so I hit Google and just started researching. But a pallbearer is spelled Pallbearer. And I have to say that because it's a word that's kind of split into two. A pall, Pall, is something that is draped over a coffin or casket. So I'm sure we've all seen it, like a coffin or casket with a beautiful kind of sheet over it, or even a flag over it, acting as a pall. I've been to a military funeral and, you see the American flag draped over the coffin.
Yeah.
But pall derives from the word pallium or pallium, which was a Roman cloak.
Ooh, I wonder if that's where palliative.
Oh, maybe.
And bear, like bearer of bad news?
Ooh. I always think of bear like the thing that holds the coffin, like BEIR, but it doesn't have a connection, I don't think.
Okay.
It's a Roman cloak, but it does have origins that connect it to Greece as well. But when it's pertained to the Romans, if a person died, they would cover them with the pallium or the cloak. But then I kept searching and ended up on the Vatican News website, and they explained how archbishops and popes wear a pallium, but it looks different. It has 6 black crosses on it, and it's not so much like a long cloak, but fabric that sits on the shoulders of an archbishop or a pope, and a long piece hangs off the back. Either way, pall comes from the word pallium. According to funeralbasics.com, which is a lovely website, they say, quote, "It used to be that 2 sets of people participated in carrying the casket. First, there were those who carried the casket itself, which they were called casket bearers. Second, there were those who carried the pall, if there was one, and placed it over the casket. Today, because both duties have generally merged into one, the pall and the casket are carried by the same people. We now use the term pallbearer. Interestingly, the term has become so common that even if there is no pall, the term pallbearer is still used.
Yeah.
And they say that the earliest use of the word in print was in 1710. So it's a fairly new use of the word.
Sure.
A couple hundred years.
Yeah.
Before I get into how many and hows and who's and everything else, I just have to say we have seen so many funerals, and I think that my favorites are the non-traditional ones where you kind of make up your own rules and stick to what you think the deceased would like. So my info I'm giving is very general, but I think do what you want. Okay, so how many pallbearers do you need to carry one casket? It depends. Most caskets have generally 3 handles on each side and then 1 to 2 handles on the front or back. And many times people choose 6 to 8 people as pallbearers so that they can have 1 handle per person on the coffin.
I've seen like memes like, I only got one friend. They're going to have to fucking hook that over their shoulders.
We'll get into a story about that. Also, keep in mind a standard casket, speaking of weight, can weigh anywhere from 160 to 220 pounds empty. Then think about, no pun intended, dead weight is then put in the casket. And so you're looking at maybe tipping the scales at 300, 400 pounds on an average size casket. And then if you have an oversized casket, that gets even heavier. But here in the US, the standard for holding a casket is at our waist. But many other countries, pallbearers hold on their shoulders.
I always see shoulders, I feel like.
I see shoulders too, but here, like the funerals I've attended, it's always been at the waist.
I think movies, a lot of times, they do like shoulder.
And also, I was thinking like a casket has handles, but like what if you have an old coffin? Probably doesn't have as many handles.
Like a vintage.
Yeah, like a cool coffin. You don't know. They make it work though. I then unfortunately thought about little caskets. And I was like, what happens with a child's casket? And I couldn't find too much info on that because thankfully it's not the Victorian ages anymore and children dying isn't the norm. But I found a thread on Reddit where someone asked, are there pallbearers at a baby's funeral? because the coffin is so small, is it just one person carrying or what? And then someone answered, the one and hopefully only time I was at a baby's funeral, the father and the godfather of the child were carrying it together. So I think
I picture like the parents.
Yeah, that brings me to who. So being asked to be a pallbearer is a big honor. And I downloaded a PDF from a funeral home. They're called Tibbs Funeral Home and Cremation. And they had on their website this thing that was pallbearer etiquette that it was like 3 pages. You could download it.
We need the Southern ladies.
I know, definitely. But they made a really good point. They said that of course no one really wants to be in the position where they have to carry a loved one or friend, but the deceased or the person closest to them are enlisting a big amount of trust in you, and they are confident you will get their loved one to their final resting place. So it really is an honor. Both men and women can absolutely be pallbearers. You would generally have close friends or family members, siblings, cousins, etc. to carry the casket. However, that also depends on traditions, your religion. For example, at a Jewish funeral, a pallbearer has to be Jewish. The deceased children would not be a pallbearer, and the immediate family wouldn't be a pallbearer either. And that may not go for every Jewish funeral, but what I've read, that is sort of the traditional way to do it. Something else I found really interesting were requirements for the pallbearer. And obviously, you must be able to hold the coffin, but I read that in ancient Indian Buddhist culture, if you were going to be a pallbearer, you couldn't drink alcohol for 49 days after the passing of the person. And you also needed to be on like a strict vegetarian diet. Many times I've seen pallbearers wear white gloves also. And although it's not a requirement, I think it's a really respectful touch. And I did read that back in the Victorian era that you should wear gloves to a funeral, because if you touched the casket without gloves on, like your bare hands, then the spirit of the deceased could take over your body. And we don't want that happening.
We're just leaking in those days.
Oh God, I know. Jesus. I've also seen pallbearers leave their gloves on a casket, and it's actually something called placing of the glove, which is a big sign of respect. There are also something called honorary pallbearers. So oftentimes at a funeral, you see pallbearers holding a casket, but then you also see people walking alongside them or even in front, but they're all in uniform. Like you can tell they're a unit. These are called honorary pallbearers, and an honorary pallbearer didn't necessarily make the cut to hold the actual casket, whether that be they physically didn't have the strength to hold the casket, or sometimes people are honorary pallbearers if they are deceased, and an honorary pallbearer doesn't have to physically be there. It's just a way to honor them. Now, with age, generally there are no age requirements for a pallbearer. And in fact, I stumbled upon these really eerie vintage photos of young boys and girls acting as pallbearers, and I'll post them. They're cool, but they're pretty eerie. But there was an article on TrishLundy.com that says, quote, "Child pallbearers were once part of the very particular and proper funeral etiquette following the death of a child. It was considered good form to have 6 young girls dressed in white as the guard of honor for a young girl or woman, while 6 young men were appropriate for a young man who died." It was an honor to be named a pallbearer. Each pallbearer was chosen by the family of the decedent, for it was not the custom to have family members serve as pallbearers themselves. Refusal of this honor was rare and would only be tolerated for the most imperative reasons. Okay, but then I started thinking, I was like, okay, but what about in an open casket? All of the stuff I've talked about pallbearers kind of pertains to a closed casket service. With an open casket, you walk in, the casket's already there. Like pallbearers aren't coming in and then setting up the open casket like viewing. You can still have pallbearers at an open casket funeral, but the funeral home will usually have the casket already open and set up and will also seal it, and then the pallbearers will take the casket to the final resting place. the pallbearers also typically all sit together in a designated area of the funeral service and then ride together in a vehicle that's usually right behind the hearse. And then lowering the casket, typically the casket is lowered into the grave by the funeral director, which the lowering of a casket will have its own coffin spinner one day because I have a lot of info on that. And then lastly, cremation. Pallbearers are still very important if you are being cremated. If you choose to still have a funeral service with a casket, you absolutely can. And then you can have your pallbearers, take you out and then you can be cremated, or you can have pallbearers carry your urn or walk alongside it.
Oh.
Now, I know that was a lot, that was information heavy, but I just want to leave you with a quick little story about someone who was so hated that he didn't have official pallbearers at his funeral. And that is Lee Harvey Oswald. If you didn't know that name, that is the name of the man who assassinated U.S. President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963. And then 2 days later, on November 24th, 1963, Lee was murdered by a man named Jack Ruby, who said he did it for Jackie. Now, obviously, the assassination was the most talked about thing all over the world, and the corpse of Lee Harvey Oswald had to be handled in secrecy. So law enforcement had a man named Paul Grudy, who was an undertaker at the Miller Funeral Home, take care of it. Paul couldn't tell anyone that he had Lee Harvey Oswald's body, not even some of the staff. And at the time, there was another man who was deceased that Paul was working on, and his name was William Bobo. So he told everybody, including the grave diggers, that the hole they were digging was for William Bobo, but really it was for Lee Harvey Oswald. Although Lee Harvey Oswald was a monster, he had 2 kids, a wife, a mom, and a brother who all wanted to properly send him off. Nobody, no ministers, priests, nobody wanted to lead the service. So that was obviously an issue. So come the day of the funeral, only Lee Harvey Oswald's mom, wife, brother, and 2 kids came to it. This meant there were no pallbearers. Paul Grudy even got together volunteers ahead of time to be the pallbearers, and nobody showed up. Nobody wanted any part of it. So Paul, the funeral director, phoned the press because he knew that the press would just fucking eat it up. And of course, reporters showed up to the funeral, hundreds of them. Soon, 7 reporters acted as pallbearers for Lee Harvey Oswald.
Wow.
Then finally, a reverend showed up and Lee Harvey Oswald's mom approached him. And so he said a couple of words. Then he was lowered into the ground and his headstone was stolen once and replaced. And then his casket was exhumed because people didn't believe that he was really buried there. They thought it was a body double. But then he was reburied in a new casket and his old one was auctioned off. But the funeral home got into legal trouble. I guess Lee Harvey Oswald's brother took him to court, which that will be a coffin spinner in itself because it's a crazy court case. But yeah, he had no pallbearers and the press had to act as them.
Incredible.
I know.
I never really gave much thought
to a pallbearer. I know.
No, I always just picture it's like a group of 6 guys who used to play football with.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. It's probably a movie where that happened.
Honey, there are rules.
Oh my God, who knew?
Etiquette.
Oh, well, you know where else there's rules and etiquette?
An obituary?
An obituary. And I have one. And this is like a little cult leader crossover.
Okay.
I recently did an episode on this awful woman named Jolly Jane.
Okay.
She was a murderous nurse. The story's fucking wild.
But her name's Jolly Jane?
Jolly Jane.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
When she passed away, she got an obituary that was pretty interesting.
Okay.
So she passed away in August of 19 1938, and the obituary says, Jane, daughter of Kelly. Jane Toppin is dead at 81. Hardly anybody now, offhand, can tell you who Jane Toppin was. That isn't because Jane Toppin was a criminal. Many less sensational and revolting killers are remembered. It was just a long time ago, and society seems more disposed to forget such killers along with the motivation and the lessons of their killings than to remember sufficiently well to do something about them. Jane Toppin was a nurse, and at 45 was regarded as the best nurse in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Then, in the family of a friend with whom Jane Toppin was closely associated, 4 persons died mysteriously in 40 days. Jane Toppin was identified as the poisoner. It would be safe to say that I killed 100 persons, she said in a confession in which she explained that she murdered for the fun of it. Many of her victims she remembered so vaguely that from her confession they could not be identified. In 15 years, she killed 31 patients. Insanity freed her of the death sentence and sent her to the hospital in 1902 for life. Here she was forgotten, along with the fact that she was the daughter of an eccentric inebriate known as Kelly the Crack, who drank himself to death, and that somewhere along her revolting career, there must have been evidences of the disintegrating process of her inheritance. And that's it.
Scathing.
What a send-off.
God, well, she sounds like she deserved it.
Well, yeah, she wasn't so great. Wasn't so jolly.
No, absolutely not. God. Well, I have an obituary for a real doll.
Ooh.
Her name was Ruth Handler, and she was the creator of the Barbie doll. This is from 2002. She was 85 years old when she died. And this is from the New York Times, and I'll be cutting it down a little bit because it's, honey, they like to go on and on. But it says, Ruth Handler, creator of the Barbie doll, one of the world's best-selling toys and one that became an icon of American popular culture, an artistic muse, and a lightning rod of feminist politics, died on Saturday at a hospital in Los Angeles where she lived. She was 85. She experienced complications after having colon surgery several months ago, said her husband Elliot. In 1959, when she invented Barbie, a busty figure with platinum blonde hair and piercing blue eyes, Mrs. Handler created the country's first mass-marketed, adult-looking doll for girls, and an image that would later be attacked by feminists as a symbol of objectification and repression. Critics said that the doll gave girls misguided goals, whether for their careers or their own physical development. Mrs. Handler, though, seemed unmoved. Her husband said it really didn't bother her. She thought they were wrong. Mrs. Handler named the doll after her daughter. Barbie's male counterpart, Ken, was named after her son. More than 1 billion Barbies have been sold in 150 countries. Barbie was a particular pioneering creation because in 1959, innocent cherubic baby dolls dominated the toy market. And Barbie's fly-off-the-shelf popularity transformed the sleepy company that sold the dolls, Mattel Inc., into a post-war success story. Mrs. Handler was a founder of Mattel and helped run the company for 30 years until she and her husband, the then co-chairman, resigned in 1975 amid a scandal. Every little girl needed a doll through which to project herself into her dream of her future, Mrs. Handler said in a 1977 interview with the New York Times. Barbie was conceived as a teenage fashion model, and her first outfits were named for her various activities, according to M.G. Lord, author of Forever Barbies, the unauthorized biography of a real doll. Barbie kept pace with the times. During Camelot, she sported a Jacqueline Kennedy hairdo. During the Civil Rights Movement, Mattel created Barbie's first black friend, Francie. But not until the 1970s, as the criticism from feminists materialized, did her career choices and her outfits begin to change to include a doctor, astronaut, and veterinarian, among others. A chief objection of feminists, including the National Organization for Women, was that Barbie's figure created unrealistic expectations for young girls that could lead to low self-esteem. People often joked that Barbie's measurements were not humanly possible, but in fact, it was determined that if the 11.5-inch doll were 5'6", her measurements would be 39, 21, 33. One academic expert calculated that a woman's chance of having find Barbie's figure were less than 1 in 100,000. In her 1994 autobiography, Dream Doll, the Ruth Handler story, she wrote, "My whole philosophy of Barbie was that through the doll, the little girl could be anything she wanted to be. Barbie always represented the fact that a woman has choices." Long after Mrs. Handler left Mattel and turned away from toys, Barbie remained wildly popular, not only as a toy, but as a touchstone of American culture. Barbie sometimes wearing outfits and hairdos that might send shudders up Mrs. Handler's spine has been the subject of art exhibits, an Andy Warhol painting, a television documentary, books, and websites, including Barbie.com and AudiosBarbie.com, a dedicated site to improving women's body images. Mrs. Handler's son, Ken, died of a brain tumor in 1994. She is survived by her husband of 63 years, a daughter, Barbara Siegel of Los Angeles, a brother, Aaron Moscow of Denver, 5 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter.
Beautiful.
There you have it.
An icon. Barbie is an icon.
Barbie
like it or
is,
not,
I know.
she's here to stay.
I loved Barbie.
You got to go play with them and test them out at Mattel when you were little.
Yes, I did. My mom was friends with someone who worked at Mattel. And so I remember as a kid going and I was like a toy tester. And then I got to go in their big company store and walk out with a Barbie. That was my payment.
That's the best.
I know.
That's like a
pretty
dream.
Cool. I know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God. Well,
Let's talk about a nightmare.
let's talk about a nightmare.
We have spun in our coffins.
We've bitched our obituaries.
I guess that means it's time for some dumb
Ass
criminals. And I have the dumbest criminal this
Do
week.
you?
I have to just tell you the story. Okay, this happened 2 days ago
Oh,
in Philadelphia.
okay.
Phila, PA. you know. Bitch, some dumbass. Okay, well, there's this guy named Don Shump, right?
Okay.
He's got a truck.
Don Shump with the trunk.
Don Shump with the truck, and he's got his truck parked outside. It's like his work truck.
Okay.
Somebody goes and steals a shop vac from his truck,
I want a shop vac.
takes off.
Okay.
Little did this dumb criminal know, Mr. Shump is the owner of the Philadelphia Bee Company, a beekeeping operation based in the city. And he told ABC, "We do removals of anything that flies and stings."
Honey, that shop vac is probably full.
So his company typically relocates like honeybees and bumblebees, and they'll use them to make honey after he collects them and sell it in the Philadelphia area. However, on this particular occasion, he had just finished a job clearing out hornets and wasps.
Oh, fuck.
And he said with those, they don't fuck with them. Typically, he takes them, they freeze them, and then they can be used for like different studies.
Oh, okay.
But last Thursday, the beekeeper siphoned hundreds of hornets into a shop vac while on a job, put the shop vac in the bed of his pickup truck to make the drive home to Frankfurt, where he was planning on freezing the insects the following morning. He's like, the truck I was driving was new, so I hadn't put any sort of wrap on it or signage or anything as to what the vehicle was used for. And then sometime between 9 p.m. Thursday and 7 a.m. Friday, Shump said someone stole the vacuum out of the bed of the truck.
Oh.
And so he posted on Facebook and said, "To the poor soul who lifted the shop vac out of the back of my truck, wanted to give you a heads up. The vacuum was there because it was filled with European hornet queens, the largest social stinging insects in the eastern United States. I performed the removal of their nest late yesterday afternoon. Those girls should be full of life and extra spicy. I anxiously await your unboxing video."
Oh my God.
And he said, "I've joked for years that I don't need to lock my vehicle, and
Yeah.
generally the bees and wasps afford a safety net." And he's like, of all the vacuums in the truck, in all the trucks that they could have grabbed, I think they grabbed the wrong one.
Wow.
And so we don't know who the criminal was, but needless to say, they're real fucking unlucky.
What if I was all stung up
Right now?
sitting across from you? I said I wanted a shop vac. Oh no. What sweet revenge.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I love is watching, because I hate porch pirates.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching videos where they like throw glitter all over them
like
and
bombs.
shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't blur out their faces.
Do not.
Let's see them.
And they get home and they're gross.
Oh, they're always gross in the grossest rooms.
Yep.
And you're like, oh.
Oh, I hope you love that.
One time I got a package delivered this was when I lived in my old apartment. Mm-hmm. You know the one where we started this whole shebang. 2 Betty bungalows ago.
Right.
And somebody had delivered a package, and it was when I was getting a lot of like PR packages at the time. Like companies would send stuff to like open
girly.
on Instagram. Yeah. So I always just like opened, looked to see what they were. And I was opening packages one day, and I opened one, and it was a blender. And I was like, oh, did a company like send me a blender? That's so random. Then not even 30 minutes later, someone comes and knocks on the door, this really nice guy. And he's like, hey, like my mother-in-law sent me something, and she put the wrong address. Did she accidentally send it here? And I was like, I don't know. So I like looked at, I had like 3 boxes opened. I was like, oh, hold on. Like, let me check. And of course I didn't even fucking look. It was his letter. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was just opening packages, and I was like, oh, that's so weird. Who sent me a blender?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. But he did not believe me. I think he was just like, you got the package and you opened it. I'm like, no, that's not what happened. So I looked like a thief.
Oh, my God.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
I could have said no.
You could have said no.
No packages here.
No, just this one.
I got a package for you, brother.
God.
What do you got?
I will tell you the story also, and then I'll show you the video that goes along with it, because I was dying laughing. I feel like you and I would do some dumb shit like this. But this crime happened in Houston, Texas in 2018 at Mr. Gotti's Pizza. Surveillance video inside of the pizza place shows 2 dumbasses breaking a window and then getting into the business at around 3 a.m. What they did next was truly like out of a video game or something. They decided to literally roll across the entire floor instead of walk because they were trying to avoid cameras and lasers just in case. And they rolled all the way to their destination, which was the restaurant's safe. And the owner of Mr. Gotti's Pizza, Jesse Juarez, was interviewed, and he told Fox 26 Houston they were looking like they were trying to avoid lasers or something. And also, Jesse believes that they have definitely seen too many movies. He's like, it was straight out of Ocean's 11 or something. The dumbasses spent a total of 15 minutes in the business and couldn't get the safe open. So then they left, but then a few minutes later, an outside surveillance footage camera shows what police think is the getaway car drive by.
It's like a Domino's.
Yeah. I know, right? One of the criminals had a large tattoo on his hand, and they're hoping that they find them, and I couldn't find any updates. So maybe they're not as dumb as we think. Maybe the rolling is a good thing.
Yeah, stop, drop, and roll, baby.
Let me show you the video, though.
Let's see it.
Laughing.
New at 6 o'clock, video that is destined to go viral. Thieves burglarizing a Houston restaurant, but they made a serious miscalculation.
Just
rolling.
And matching. I love it.
Dumbasses.
Dumbasses.
Oh my God. I feel like that's what we're going to do tonight in our escape room.
Yeah. Madison went to the P.O. box today, and there was just letters.
Get well soon.
Get well soon letters for me.
I walked in his house. I said, they're all for you.
Here's one letter that came. No, this one's for the both of us. It says, Dear Spencer and Madison, I love both of your shows so much. I'm happy to be a part of your cult. I started listening to the cult leader when I got my first apartment before I had Wi-Fi, and I couldn't watch TV. So I found your podcast, and I've been hooked ever since. Thank you for telling me that story. That's very sweet. I'm a Nebraska girly, and I'm a 911 dispatcher.
Oh, fuck. You got to send us emails.
I've been working on writing in a dumbass criminal story. There's just so many to choose from. Can you like come talk to us?
I know.
I was so excited when I heard the dumbass criminal from Norfolk. There was a bank murder in Norfolk too. Maybe not big enough for a whole episode, but I could do some research and write in for a little leader. Thank you both for what you do. You've helped me get through the deaths of 2 of my uncles that died close together last year. Obituary has helped me learn and become more comfortable with death. Your faithful follower, Paige.
Oh, Paige. I can't even imagine what you go through at your job. Like just hearing some of the stuff. Like you hear 911 calls. I'm sure a lot on Cult Leader, Spence.
Yeah. Well, and also I just have to pause. This is a beautiful invitation. Your wedding is in 2 days. We will not be able to make it.
Oh, man.
But
we'll call 911 and
we'll send them your way. Yeah, we call. We're looking for our friend Paige.
Yeah, we want to wish her a very happy wedding.
Another one here says positive vibes of healing being sent your way with a little
Oh my God, that's a beautiful card. Did they draw that?
They said, get well soon, Spencer. You have a lot of people who care and love you, sending you so much positive vibes for healing. There is no keeping a good man down. We all need our weekly dose of obituary told by you and Madison. Much love, Lauren from New Hampshire.
Oh my God.
That is so fucking nice. A lot of my friends didn't even send me cards.
Yeah, what the hell?
And then we got another postcard that said, I don't really have social media, but I heard you're in the ICU. I hope that you're doing better now. I love Cult Leader and Obituary, but hope you take time to rest and recover. I have a story to email you about my time in Alaska. Love, your cult follower, Michaela.
That's so kind.
You guys are so fucking nice. And then I was not told to read this one on air, but I found the coolest. So I've become Instagram friends with this girl who came to our live show in Irvine. Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about. And her Instagram is Budweiser Babe Vintage, but it's Budweiser Babe VTG, and just has really cool vintage shit.
Uh-huh.
They had posted this Marlboro sign, this light up neon sign, and I was like, well, I was telling you, I was like, oh, that'd be so fun to put, because there's this one room in my house that I'm like, let's make it a kind of fun room.
Right.
But I was messaging with them and she's like, I'm leaving some stuff there for you and Madison. And so there's this package. So I'm like, okay, well,
what a cutie.
Let's open it.
What is it?
I don't know. First of all, really cute fucking totes.
Oh my God, Budweiser Babe Vintage. I'm going to use this.
Oh.
How cute.
My God. This is so cool.
What?
Beautiful
mirrors
with our logos on them for the show.
How cool.
Are you kidding me?
That is so special.
Everyone go
go follow her, please.
It's Budweiser Babe VTG. I follow them, so if you go to who I follow, just type in Budweiser.
And a keychain.
Oh my God.
A little Playboy bunny.
I'm going to hang these in our office.
Yes.
But you're going to take a picture of them first so we can show everyone how fucking cool they are.
How cool. Oh my God, thank you.
You're fucking awesome. Thank you so much. If you guys have stuff you want to send us, you can send Madison a get well soon card too for that head of hers. To P.O. Box 18149, Long Beach, California 90807. But that is it for this week. We will see you next week with some more coffin spinners.
Obituaries.
I have the giggles now. And dumb
as criminals.
Bye.
Bye.